part of my position as the chairman of the Global Council, me and Mr. Sidi, we often sit together and have one-on-one conversations. And this time we said, why not record it and put it online? Mr. Roy, I would like to invite you to come with me here today.
Thank you very much.
So, I want to know your perspective and your reference regarding the comments and the emails we get at the inbox of the community about our overall ideology perspective.
Yes, I'm aware that we are posting some of interesting perspective about recent events in the world, and we're getting a lot of inputs and people trying to fully understand what is our perspective and why we see things differently. So I read most of the comments and inbox mails I read by myself, and I collected a few thoughts to speak about them in order to maybe try to make a whole description of our ideology. We will start in. We often divided the world to two kinds of societies. There are conservative, religious people. It doesn't matter which religion. Every religion has a very strict way of living. Doesn't matter which one. And more liberal. Okay. All of those societies dividing the world to two areas, spheres. There is a public sphere and there is personal sphere. More conservative and religious you are, less private area you have. For example, if you are a very conservative, very religious person, so the only place that you can be yourself and do whatever you want is in your thoughts. There you are free. More liberal you are, this area is grow. So everyone accept it. Okay, this is acceptance by everyone. Now the difference is what happens when you're going out from your private area, personal space, to the public space. What happened there? What is the rule? How to behave? There's two extreme points in the world that I think United States as a representative of one point, and let's take, I don't want to mention countries, but let's take the Middle East as the other representative of the other side of the same scala. Scala is the word. Scale. Let's start with the conservative because it's easy. The public area in the conservative society means that you need to obey the norms. By the way, it's everywhere. We always need to obey the norms. That is acceptance on the society, the community,
within the society
you are living it. In conservative, there are very strict protocol how to behave and what to do. You are less free in the public area, much less than the liberal. And in order to make it more clear, I can say that everyone agrees that every person in the world born free. Okay. But if you are alone in the world, you are really free, okay? But once humankind, primates, decided to live in communities, in groups, in societies, they are automatically lose part of their freedom, because you cannot do whatever you want and live with other person. Everything in our life is compromising.
The sacrifice you pay for socialism.
Yes, in criminology and sociology there is a question that they're asking, what is the power of the authority? From where authorities, states, communities, societies, getting the powers? From where? So there's a lot of answers, but the acceptance and the mainstream answer is that every person, of course, that's born free, but when he decided to be part of a community and a society, he willingly give up part of his freedom. And all those parts of the freedom of the collective, of the individuals, giving the collective his power to act. Okay, so you have the United States from the other side, and the conservative states from the other side, and so conservative have a very strict protocol. They're living in a very let's say stable world. Okay, how to behave. They're taking more part of the liberal of the freedom of the person and more control to the party, to the collective. In the United States, I see for several years a distortion of concept of freedom. They think, not everyone, but you can see their ideology that once you go out from your private to the public, you have the same level of freedom. It means you cannot tell them what to do. You cannot tell them what to wear. You cannot like the state of mind is, who are you to tell me what to do? And you've seen it everywhere in the United States.
The abuse of the term freedom.
I think it's a distortion of the term freedom, because the public area needs to be, as its name, public. How can you do it? It needs to be a process between the individual that putting together this collective, this public, and consenting on norms to say this is acceptance and this is not. And unfortunately, again, this is not good and this is not good. We are trying to promote an ideology, a system that say, and yes, by the way, we know that our system is taking time. It's a process. It's something. It's not immediately, because you cannot get agreement between even two people so easily.
Yes.
You can see it between couples. Doesn't matter who is putting this couple, a boy or girl. But even between two people that want to get married, they compromise in order to live together. So describe what happened in a very large scale, as a community, as a country, as a state, or whatever. So we offering a point of view to say to the people, listen, you want to be part of us? This is our norms. You can try to change it. Okay, it's not nothing is holy, but in order to change it, you need to use our tool in order to change it. Democratic tools in the Western world, and etc. My main argument saying that you cannot change it by force. It's not work. Terror is an example trying to change ideology or society by power. Or war, by the way, but war is the same.
The more
so what we're trying to promote is the idea to say to people, listen, we're building the world wrong, okay? States must not be built on ethnicity, religion, or race. Because in that way, when you say, and I know that people doesn't like this idea, let's take Israel as example. To say that it's a Jewish country, now I can understand where it's coming from. But once you say it's a Jewish country, you automatically say that if you are not a Jew, you cannot feel belong.
You do not belong. Yes, it's the discrimination from the first.
They will say you not belong because you are equal. They have the minorities in Israel have equal rights, but feeling this is what all about. Not only the formality, also the essence of things, because being a minority and always being labeled as foreigner, as outsider, is exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. So if a country, and there's a lot of them, by the way, Israel is not the only one. There's countries based on religion, there's countries that based on ethnicity or race, it doesn't matter. Once the world starting to say countries needs to be built on ideology, values, culture, then immigration will be a good solution for everyone. I will give an example. Let's take, and I know now in this talk, specifically when it's a film, like I burning all the holy cows. Let's take transgenders as an example. Okay,
This is gonna cause a conflict, okay?
yeah, transgender. It's a phenomenon. It's reality. You cannot deny it. But the question is how to deal with it. And I know people in the West world will say, deal with it. We need to accept it. That's it. Period.
Well,
But
I mean,
it's not.
I don't think there is something. We should never decline something directly nor accept it directly. We need to deal with it rationally. Does it make sense?
I don't know Russian. Again, this is what I'm trying.
I'm not talking about them now. I'm talking about the
No,
general.
Yes, I'm trying to say that even more than that. That rational, not rational, it's not the question. We need to deal with it. How to deal with it? This is the question. Because in liberal societies, they deal it differently from conservative.
Yes.
Okay, but the liberals needs to understand, and the conservative needs to understand. Everyone needs to understand that if they have an answer into their opinion, it doesn't necessarily saying that this is the truth.
Yes.
That everyone needs to do exactly like them.
It is an answer, not the answer.
Of course, there's a lot of ways to deal with transgenders or homosexuality or vegetarian or vegan or every subject that we have. There's a way to deal with it, and every society, and this is the big enlightenment, needs to deal with it openly, of course, talk about it between the members of the community or the society, and decide it to them what is the best norm. Now, what about if one individual doesn't accept it? He thinks their way to deal with transgenders is wrong, and their is right. This is where accepting immigrants is helping. Because once states start to build on values, then it will be easy to accept outsiders or foreigners that will say, you know what, I don't accept with my society. I want to immigrate to a country that I accept their values because it's the same like mine. And the country that build on values, that understand the concept that they need to accept people that are alike, not needs, but because there's always diversity, but as a general, there's some similarities. It will be easier to the foreigners to become integrated part of this country.
To get integrated.
The this divided between foreigners and immigrants and native, and it's causing only trouble. Once we change our diskette in our head and trying to see it differently, we'll be able to change. And of course, and I know economy is a huge and a very important part.
Yes, of course. I mean, if someone is hungry, you cannot think rationally.
No, even if from the point of the states, they will say, "I want people only based off productivity." It's okay, but again, I even that I want to change this. This is why I'm socialist. I especially socialist because I say capitalists always saying more money. Sorry, it's good. I say it too. I'm not against money, but I just say. Like you saw the Nasrallah.
Yes.
No, I don't have corona.
We use masks and we're both vaccinated.
That's so. Just need to drink. You edited that after.
Where did they put the water?
Yes, I have. I will bring it. So, capitalist way say, more money you keep it yourself, it's good. But the fact is, and this is according to the International Bank, the majority of the people on Earth are poor. This is a fact. You cannot argue that.
Yes.
And they are poor not because they are not working. The capitalists like to sell us the idea, they're poor because they don't work. It's not true. It's a fact. Everyone can check it. Socialist way doesn't mean that take from the rich and give for free to the poor. This is not what socialists mean. Socialism means to divide differently the money that the collective own. Okay? So, even if I'm a country that wants only productivity and money, if I a little bit change the diskette and say, I will earn less money, but at least I have people in my state, in my community, that sharing same values. It's better, because when we over xenophobia, over transphobia, over every phobia we have as human, our world will be less tense. Now people say to me, and this is one of the comments we get, well, everyone from the Middle East or Africa will come to Europe, come to Africa, to America. It doesn't work like that. And I think it will not happen. And I will explain why. Because if a country built on values, so a person in UK who will believe in conservative, very conservative ideas that similar with African countries, and immigration now it's legit, it's legitimacy to go from country to country. So we will leave. And let's say if these individuals say, no, I want to change this country. Well, it's a democracy. Try. But again, with democratic tools. Not by force, not from terror, not by breaking the law. Change by trying to explain the other why you are right. Run for Congress, Parliament, whatever you have in your country. Yes, it's a long process. It takes time. It's not from now to now, but it's a way of everyone can live together. And yes, time, we know we are human and we live, I hopefully, 120 years. But we don't really, we need to understand we don't have other way to live together. Because we're seeing now in Europe that we have a lot of immigrants and minorities inside countries, and it's correct to every country. But there is a clash between cultures, okay? And people need to understand that once they immigrant, they must obey and accept the law and culture of the country you are in it.
Yes, well, here's the thing, that a lot of immigrants, and I've dealt with them so many times, they leave their country where they were born, but the country does not leave them. The country is still in their brain. They fail to integrate within the society they come to join in, and they will always have a problem when it comes to identity. Even through first or second generation, it's always that loss in identity. They don't know, oh, you come from your homeland or you belong to the society, so they clash in with it. And you cannot have, what can I say? You cannot really have a mixed like identity. You have to choose. They end up like choosing either that or that. And
in our way proved that it's possible, because the country that accept immigrants needs again change the disc to say, okay, it's not about ethnicity. If I'm French or originally French or originally Britain, no, it's not about ethnicity. It's not about religion. It's about values. So if I accept immigrants, I need to give them the feeling, welcome. I accept you. The state, the formal, already accepted. So why to not educate people to erase, not by erasing by deleting, but erase in a way that to say, I accept foreigners because now they are foreigners, but in several years they will be like me, or I will be there in new integration, and there will be a new France or a new UK or whatever. But the country needs to educate their people to accept foreigners, to fight xenophobia, and the immigrants from the other side of the equation needs to understand that once I immigrate, that's it. I left my country. I choose.
Choice.
And by the way, even there's a lot of immigrants to choose. By the way, we know that there's wars in the world. There are a lot of disasters in the world. So we understand it. But if you choose to stay and obtain citizenship, and to say, okay, I left my country, something happened, something bad, I fully, you cannot erase your heritage. You cannot erase your past, but you need to respect it, but to see the future too in the new country. And again, it cannot be done if the other side will not accept it. because we see in Europe the far right is raising their head, and again the conversation is them and we. And once you are showing a person from outside, oh, there's we and they, so I cannot
The
never
black
be
and
they.
white issue.
So
It's not black and white. That's the thing. You know, there is a part of the spectrum we need to deal
people
with.
need to start understanding that money is not the most important thing, and needs to understand that immigration is a good solution. It's the only solution, and states needs to form and educate. It's a process that not to be built on ethnicity or something that divides, because again, once there's they and we, there's always be conflict, and of course, wars will never be ended, because we will always find something to fight on. But at least to reduce even in a little bit the tense in our world, in my opinion, we did our job.
Well, here comes the critical question, because they will ask this. They will ask, are you in for globalization?
In my opinion, yes. I'm not ashamed to say that. Yes. In my opinion, it doesn't mean maybe one government. I don't say that, but I say that globalization. It doesn't mean that everyone will be the same. Globalization means that you can transfer ideas, ideology, goods, people. This is for me globalization. Globalization is not like communism. People like socialism. It's like communism. Communism, it's mean putting everyone in the same color, the same thoughts. No, this is not what I meant. Globalization for me is meaning the ability to move, to change very easily.
Well, regarding the ideology and build your country, regarding the value you're seeking, we know that a lot of people have tried to build their own country, and there are a lot of stuff to be done about it, but I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to ask, what if? And the what if always exists. What if one day we have these countries built on special terms of values? Like, for example, we have those who are gay, they will choose to make their own country. Those who are communist, they will choose to make their own country. Those who, whatever value they have, they will go and choose their own country. What do you think about that?
This is why the rule of law as a way of life is great. As long there is consensus and agreement between individuals how to live together, from my point of view, it should be 1,000 countries in the world. Why not? Why to insist to live only like this? Like it's. By the way, we insist on things like it's worked in the past. We had a terrible history of wars and death. Why not try to change a little bit? By the way, I don't think gayness, okay, it's a theme to build a country.
No, I didn't mean it that way. It's just
No,
like you.
because we know, as both of us activists, we came from the same area of atheism. Even atheism, we discovered that it's not even a ground to build this. It's not something that you could build a consensus behind. It's a value.
Yes.
It's a way of thinking. So again, I don't think this is what happened to the states. But if this will, let's say, a weird country will, weird from other people's perspective, will be transformed. Okay, so what bad about it?
Yeah, I know. I have nothing about it. I'm just asking about the
figure.
manipulation of the terms, because when it comes to value, you can, technically speaking, especially on the internet now, you can have a minimum, a group or two about some of the weirdest stuff online. I mean,
the virtual world is a great escape to build whatever you want. But when you're seeing it here, this way of thinking the actual fact is that it's more easy way to live in, because me as a liberal that living in a Western country, in thinking that way, I accept religious country. I don't say that it needs to be erased or needs religious or a conservative country. This is the only thing that I say, that everyone needs to accept the way of talking about it, because let's say take a country that they have war between conservative and liberals, and one day they will decide that they cannot live alone, no longer they can live together. It's okay too, to divide countries to different. So all what we need to do is not to insist on the old ways like it's holy and like it's a taboo. We need to be able to speak about everything and get a consensus, and this consensus is applied to everyone. I will end our conversation in one last thing that I saw that people wrote to me. That's something that I personally comment. They ask because the way they say, oh, so Rosa Parks was a criminal, or Mandela was a criminal, or the time that the U.S. was with slave, it was okay. I will tell now what I wrote. So, criminal or not criminal, I don't know specifically if the segregation law in South Africa and America, the U.S. was criminal law, but yes, they break the law, okay? But they break the law and was willing to take the responsibility of breaking the law. And by breaking the law, okay, they start a movement. By the way, they start a movement, and the other side could be maybe nothing would happen. But the world change once the collective get a consensus that what was is no longer relevant.
Yes.
Slavery is past, segregation is past, but not breaking the law make the change. The consensus and the procedures and the things that happen because of it make it happen.
They didn't break the law for the sake of breaking the law. They broke the law because they knew that it was the only way to make, because they had no other choice, you know.
Yes, but those people that attacked in the way that argue with me said to me, because this is the thing, we say never break the law. So to say, Rosa Parks break the law, Mandela break the law. There's a lot of people that break the law. And I cannot say it's okay to break the law. I just say, if you break the law, what reason will be, take a responsibility of that and believe in what you're doing. And I don't know what will happen, but you need to take responsibility, because we're seeing now a lot of ex-Muslim in Muslim countries that living in Muslim country, breaking the law of the country and doesn't take responsibility. They shouting to the world, oh, they captured me, they arrested me, they're taking me to the court, help me, save me. But you break the law, it doesn't matter for me, again, from my perspective. I don't care why you did what you did. Okay, you did it because you want to say to the world, I don't believe in Allah. Okay.
Well, sometimes it's less delicate than that. I mean, the term breaking the law regarding ex-Muslim is a little bit too vague, and I think they just have to change the perspective on how they treat the law itself, because at the very end the law is not holy. It's really important for societies, but it can be changed in a way or another.
No, yes, this is exactly the point. The law must be changed
from within.
From within, yes. So, for example, if this ex-Muslim live in a very, very and I know it can be in every religion, not only, I don't speak about Islam, but I will take it only this example. Let's say this ex-Muslim living in a very religious country. The society there, devoted Muslim. They feel right, they don't wrong, they don't and they are not stupid, they don't force to be Muslim, they choose to be Muslim. This is the society. Me as an individual that think differently, and I have the right to think differently, but I don't have the right to break the norms. This is what my argument. You want to change your atmosphere, you don't change your area, and you don't feel part of this society, and it's okay, immigrate. And this is why we promote immigration.
Immigration is not easy when it comes to certain countries. I mean, just to try to leave Tunisia legally, and you have a firm idea regarding that. The thing is, the tactic of war, because at the very end, if you are fighting the law, it's a war on a specific law, even if it's a small one. The tactic should be changed. Sometimes brutal force is not enough, or direct conflict is not enough. If your opponent is really way bigger than you, and the correct way is not to face to face. You have to find your way around it. And
no problem. Take the law to your advantage. Again, this is so you say that basically this is the same. Don't break the law because it doesn't help.
Yes,
Breaking the law doesn't help.
It's nice to send a message, though.
No problem. If you want to make a message, take full responsibility. Whatever will happen, it doesn't mean that I'm happy that people getting there is country that have death sentence. I personally against death sentence. Doesn't matter even if it's Hitler. By the way, my personal even Hitler, I don't think it needs to be if he was getting tried. This is my perspective. But as a political movement, because we are kind of political, even if it's not a local or as a country politics, this is what we're trying to change in the political side. Telling countries think differently about immigration. And then once every side of the equation is working correctly, it will be easy to immigrate based on values and not based on qualification of work, for example, in money terms. So no, I don't say it's easy. Again, our way is not easy, but our way will make sure first of all that you will survive. It's not easy way in the Middle East to survive or in Africa, but at least our way will give you the chance to survive, to see the change. Okay, so I will always stick with the statement: don't break the law. It doesn't matter what kind weird of the law. There's always a solution, even if it's not immediately, even if it's not from now to now. It's always a solution, even if it's not easy.
Well, I think our time is up, and
yes,
we have work to do. So,
and I hope our viewers. It was weird, but I'm enjoying this conversation. But I hope our viewers take something from it.
So thank you very much, everyone, and maybe we should record another one.
Yes, we will do it one day.
And have a lovely day.